We're back. We're back in the warm weather. It's 80 degrees here in Los Angeles.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's so nice. No more 40 degrees. We love Toronto. Toronto, amazing city.
Yeah,
we
great
appreciate
city.
the hospitality. Toronto treated us extremely well, but with that said, it was 40 degrees, and I don't do 40 degrees anymore. That's why I pay all these taxes here in California.
It's tough. It's tough when you get used to what we do out here in Southern California. But I will say I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I barely needed a jacket and a hoodie or whatever to move around.
It was one or the other.
Obviously, we know that Toronto, Canada was one of the colder places in North America.
It is.
And we hit them at a time that's actually mild for, how cold it could get out there. But yeah. I'm happy. It's a nice 82 today in LA.
Yeah, it was hot there. That live show, Soho House. Shout out to Shaka. Shout out to Soho House Toronto.
Yes.
For giving us the venue for the live show, our first live show in 5 years?
5 years, 2019.
Yeah, 2019, right?
San Francisco, the Independent. That was the last one.
We were supposed to have one a week after.
Where was it supposed to be, Was?
New York! That was supposed to be March of 2020.
I remember us having a conversation as a group. It was still very young at the time, very new in the pandemic and everything. But like, do we really need to cancel this? And now looking back, it could have never happened, right?
We were literally trying to be like, no, but
it
can't we still fly?
Yeah, right.
And then reality slowly set in that nothing in life was moving for a little while.
Yo, man, the live show was fun. I forgot how fun those are, man.
Yeah.
Crowd was good. Took a little warming up from the crowd because most of the people didn't know us. That was the one difference, right? Is like, we had some people in the crowd. We had some Patreon subscribers who shout out to them for coming out to the show. Got to meet, I think, all of them. Yeah. Everyone was super chill, super fun. But for the most part, it's the first time we performed. And I use this comparison very loosely, but you get a little bit of what a stand-up comedian who isn't the feature act goes in there feeling like, all right, I got to get these people on my side kind of thing. And so it took a couple of minutes, but Waz brought them around and we had a good, show. Waz steering the ship. Sometimes at the iceberg, sometimes through the iceberg, sometimes over the iceberg. But he steered that motherfucker and it was good. And man, I had a blast. I had such a fun time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And, like Zach said, it's like people who have never heard of you for the most part, who have they don't have a pre-existing list of here are the things we're going to talk about or whatever. So, we talked about the things that are happening in culture, being that we were in Canada, the rap situation with J. Cole and Kendrick and Drake or whatever. We did some of that. Thankfully, there was some black women in the audience. And so, I had to talk about interracial dating as it pertains to black men.
That was a conversation right there, man. That was a conversation.
You had to.
That was my favorite part because, you could tell they weren't sure where any of it was going, right?
Yeah.
I had to remind them at one point, Maze, I was like, look, I'm somebody who in my past has dated white women, Latin women, Asian women, whatever. But, I'm dating black women right now.
Baby.
I told him I came back home, Maze.
He literally said that.
No, Waz, coming home is the Monday pod. This is Zosny.
Yeah.
You still got your hair on your head, so you haven't come home quite yet.
I came back home on their asses, man.
I gotta tell this part of the story, man. This is my favorite part. So we did two segments, right? We did 30, 40 minute segment with you and Jerv and Jason and Trey up there. And then we had a little break, and then we did a segment with you and me and Trey up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm standing kind of back of the room at the bar while the conversation's going, just observing the whole room, seeing how people are reacting and everything. But we got some workers, or people affiliated with, so I don't know who they were necessarily, but behind me at this table, right? Very back of the room. And Was at one point when talking about the interracial dating and dating a white woman who was also maybe Puerto Rican, Italian Puerto Rican woman or whatever, at one point said, I don't remember the exact sentence, but it ended with white trim. And the crowd kind of like laughed and gasped.
It was
everything.
Nervous laughter.
But it was nervous laughter. But this woman behind me, who I didn't see because I'm facing the stage or whatever. But I hear her go, oh, white trim. That's a crazy thing to say, but like not to anybody. It wasn't she just said it out loud. It was an expulsion of thought. That was for me the funniest part of the night, but that was also a very just singular experience for me. So, but
we had some fun. We had some fun with it. I think my personal favorite was, I explained this viral video that I'd seen this British woman being completely and wholly surprised that she was down south and there was so much black guys dating black women and loving black. It was so condescending and annoying and stupid as compared to what people do in places like Los Angeles and LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, my kicker, Maze, was that first of all, down south is more racially dense. It's the highest concentration of black people in the country. Mm-hmm. And second of all, I'm pretty sure if there was some Filipino chicks down there, there'd be black dudes trying to date them. Just a venture a guess.
I had a perfect, because the back row, it was like chairs. It's like, right. It's not like seats like set up at a normal level. It's like nice chairs and sofas and stuff. And so the back row is all like black women in the corner, right? Like it's all black women in the corner. And I had this direct line of sight of them when Waz said that. And oh my God, you could not have gotten different responses amongst those black women. Like it was funny. Like there were some that were laughing. There were some that were horrified. I thought one was going to get up and leave. Like it was, my God, bruh, it was so funny.
And that's the reason why we wanted to do that. We want to have topics that engage the people. And ultimately, I thought we had a pretty nice conversation about it. Just like,
it was good.
The people's different feelings and stuff like that. And it was dope, man. It was just dope to be in a room full of people, just having fun, having laughs, and more importantly, meeting people and people that engage with the work. Unsurprisingly, Zach, I don't know if you noticed those two white women that were sitting down.
Yes,
they were some white chicks, white women. I shouldn't say that. They were my age, basically, maybe even a year or two older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said what up to them, and I asked them what brought them to the show. They're Ringer fans. Saw our shit on the website and was like, yo, I've heard of fucking Big Waz. I know Big Waz. And so, man, it was just dope, man, the variety of folks that came out.
Yeah, it was great. Also, get a little sentimental. I hadn't been around the group in a while. It wasn't the full group. It wasn't our hashtag full squad. Shout out to the 2014 Warriors. But it was just cool to be around everybody. And also Jerv's a trip. Jerv was trying to argue with me and Trey that we're not washed, right?
Trey already gets a taste of Jerv going to the weed store and haggling with the dispensary person about how he can handle 100 milligram edible. So
we're trying to figure out
Jerv's weed shit has surpassed anything that is even approaching reasonable at this point.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious, quite frankly. He don't want to have nothing to do with alcohol. That's all a waste of time. Being out, being social, being at a nightclub.
He's cool, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Not care. But if he gets some good eddies, some strong flour, my God, he is in heaven.
He's arguing with
Jerv, are you tired? You looking groggy? Whatever. He said, nah, I'm just high.
This dude's almost falling asleep at dinner the night before. And he's like, I'm not high. I'm not drunk. I'm just tired. You took a 50-minute flight. What do you mean you're tired?
He was jet lagged from his flight from Philadelphia.
International waters, Waz. Come on.
So he and Trey are on the same flight home. And he's like, our flight's at 1. We got to get there at 9:30. And And Trey's like, no, we don't need to get to the airport that early. Whatever. So we're arguing. And then at one point, Trey's like, yo, I'm washed. We're washed. I was like, yeah, we're washed. And Jerv's like, no, I'm not washed. We're not washed. We have flights. We're mature. We have flights. I'm like, us having a plan to get home doesn't mean we're not washed. That doesn't mean anything. That means we don't live in Canada. That means we're not homeless.
Goodness.
It was a great time.
Jerv out on Friday, like him making this argument would become 20 million times funnier. I'm talking about 12 a.m. This guy was cooked.
He's cooked.
Could not move out of his seat. Okay.
And you really aren't lying about like
Jerv.
Yeah.
For producing and liaising with those folks and like, you know what I mean? Basically point guarding that whole thing. It was just dope. I can't wait for us to do our next one. I think it'll be a lot of fun, honestly.
Absolutely. Welcome to the Zosny edition of the OG pod here on Count the Dings. I'm Zach Harper. That's Wosny Lambre. That's Anthony Mays. And we got a Patreon exclusive segment for you later on in the show that you only get patreon.com/countthedings, in which we will talk about the greatest alley-oop attempt I've ever seen. And how would you put it? I don't know if I can say what Isaiah Hartenstein calls himself. Am I allowed to say that? As a white?
Doesn't he call himself bright skin?
Yeah, I don't know. All of a sudden makes me feel very okay. I don't know if that's
you're
the
allowed
right
to say that he's got bright skin. I mean, the guy is.
We're gonna have a etymological discussion about what that means later in the Patreon section.
But before that, again, patreon.com/countthedings. You get not just that segment, you get all the extra stuff we have here at Count the Dings. But before that, tonight, the showdown for the number 1 seed in the Western Conference between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. Both teams tied. Timberwolves have the tiebreaker currently, so they have the 1 seed, but both teams have the same record. They're both a game ahead of OKC. And this one is just, I mean, you can cut the tension with a chainsaw, maybe, because you get Anthony Edwards talking about this matchup tonight, and he's trying to place it. He's not trying to give any bulletin board material to the champs or anything. He's saying, I think everyone knows what is at stake. I don't even need to talk about how big it is. Everybody knows, right? Like, he's just like, look, everyone knows that this is the game. This is it. I'll remind you of, I think it was 2018, where last game of the season, it's Timberwolves and Nuggets, Jimmy Butler's Timberwolves, and winner gets in the playoffs as the 8th seed, loser goes home. Timberwolves win that one, I think in overtime. Like, there's a history here of these two teams battling it out for playoff positioning, right?
A history, yes.
And so, yes, a history. And so Anthony Edwards doesn't even need to talk about it. We know how big it is. And this is what Nikola Jokic had to say on it. I don't think it's a really big game. Yes, we're going to go out there and play to win the game, of course. But I think people are just making their stories that it's a big game. Hopefully, it's going to be interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not just Nikola Jokic. That is the words of a champion who knows we get 2 seeds still win this shit. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, Jokic is notorious for sometimes not playing the game.
Yeah.
And by game, you know what I mean. Media circus, narrative, like playing into anything that isn't him showing up, doing his job, doing it to the best of his abilities, and sort of moving on. He doesn't do the WWE Hulk Hogan, I can't hear you. He doesn't do that. He just kind of does what he does, and it has its certain charms. But in this case, like, come on, they're the champs. They don't need to invent so the Timberwolves do need to invent little victories for themselves to achieve.
For sure.
Because they haven't achieved anything. So they should be inviting challenges and these small victories. They should be. They haven't
done anything. I guess the 2004 Western Conference Finals appearance means nothing to you. All right.
Right. 6 games in 2018 doesn't mean shit to you, Waz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on. You know who they beat on the way to that conference finals?
Anyway, they've never done anything in the history of their franchise.
It was Denver than Sacramento, I think. Yeah, that's what it was.
And so they should be trying to make a big deal about some of this stuff. Whereas with Denver, Jokic is like, bruh, we have to win 4 playoff rounds. Mm-hmm. If in one of them or maybe 2 of them we get one less home game, I think we'll be okay. Like that comes with experience, which brings perspective. So it's understandable. So I understand what both poles of it. Like it is a big deal for the Tim. Like it would be a milestone for the Timberwolves to finish first in the West this year.
Yeah,
legitimately something to celebrate. You know, whereas Denver, not so much.
The Denver could also lose this game and still find their way into the 1 seed in the sense that they would need to win the rest and then the Wolves would have to lose the rest. But Denver finishes the season at the Spurs and at the Grizzlies, right? This is their last home game of the regular season. Then they're at Spurs, at Grizzlies to finish it out. That should be 2 wins if they want to, right? Although Wemby, maybe is messing some things up, but that should be 2 wins. The Wolves have 2 home games after this against the Hawks and the Suns. Now, they should beat the Hawks, but it's also the Wolves, like things happen. Mm-hmm. And the Suns will still be playing for something and probably won't go down by 30 in the first quarter.
Hopefully.
Of that game.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe. We don't know. But so, like, there's still a pathway. But if the Timberwolves lose this game, I think it's essentially over. There's still a pathway to it, but I don't think Denver is losing after this game.
There's everything that Waz pointed to about Denver has the championship aspirations. They've been there before. They know how much it takes. The Wolves, the 1 seed would be a big deal. But also I love how these quotes fit the players' personalities so well. Ant, he's intense. He's serious. He's kind of making it fun. Jokic couldn't care less. Sounds really casual about it. Hopefully it's a good game.
He's clocking into work.
He's got his eye on the ball, guys.
And the Nuggets could come out and dominate. It's very impossible, even with that lackadaisical attitude.
Also, the Wolves went in there recently and kicked their ass. Into Denver like last week or the week before, kicked their ass. Like so.
And Jokic doesn't have, outside of Embiid, which is a legitimate rivalry, I think those guys have a lot of love and respect for each other, but like, it's a real thing. Like, they play the same position, they play at MVP levels, people are constantly comparing them. That's it. But he don't got that with anybody else. I think the Nuggets collectively, Mike Malone especially, hates the fucking Lakers with a passion, and they make sure to embarrass them at every single turn. But there's nothing there.
You know what's funny about that too?
Outside of that, like Jokic isn't going to be drawn into some like a beef. Like I don't even know. Like Porzingis wanted to one day be like, "Fuck Jokic, I'm the shit." Like fuck that guy. And even like work, he wouldn't be drawn into it.
Gobert kind of tries to like, we're on even playing fields thing, but Jokic doesn't view it like that. Like he just doesn't, right? And you know the funny thing about that Lakers thing where they're just like, we're gonna embarrass Lakers. It's not even. It has nothing. It has to. It's entirely what ESPN did in that coverage in that series. That's what it is. Like you had like the ESPN Laker propaganda machine and everything, which is a very real. Like they don't cover it as a beat writer. They cover it as like here's some PR. Like after that first game, which they lost, by the way. Again, I do not consider it a conference. Like you were in the conference finals if you got swept. I just don't. Like I will never think of it that way. And so the Lakers after that first game had that whole Rui Hachimura thing, and like guarded him. And ESPN had the audacity to write, "They figured it out. They have the weapon to stop Jokic. It's Rui on him and AD helping." And it's like, are you high? Like, come on, man. And so I genuinely think it's that coverage during the series that makes them hate the Lakers. Because the Lakers, I don't feel like they talked that much shit in the series. There was some animosity, but
they didn't. It's just Mike Malone. He's just really infuriated by the Lakers. Of course, Laker fans. They travel well, so they like kind of inundated the Denver games with Laker people and stuff. But yeah, they get really animated about Lakers stuff. And yes, ESPN, let's just say they hire some prominent NBA people with Laker ties. Let's put it like that. And so, yeah, I respect it. I respect Mike Malone's ornery nature. Like, it's dope. Like, everybody doesn't need to be, like, stoic and all of that shit. Mike Malone has emotions, and he shows them.
I still think it's shitty what he did to Cassidy Hubbarth on TV, where she called him Michael Malone. He's like, it's Michael.
Oh,
like I'll never forgive him for that. But I also like I used to hate because he would use any little thing of like, no one believes it, the world hates us, all this stuff. But then he admitted to me at like All-Star Weekend a few years ago, I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm just using the motivation. I know it's not true. Basically, like I'm paraphrasing, but like the fact that he was like open about, like he would admit that, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm back in. He annoyed me, and now I'm like, no, I appreciate the hustle there.
If he was being earnest, that would drive you crazy. But if he's acting, thumbs up.
Mike come on. You know, earnest is the number one rule. We do not abide by that.
We don't do earnest around here.
No. The importance of not being earnest.
Sarcastic. Mm-hmm. You better be smarmy. You better be anything.
You better put on a fucking show for me. Earnest. Exactly.
Ernest, get the fuck out of here. That's how we do it on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, who do you think wins tonight?
I can see the Wolves winning it, man. I think the Wolves win. Denver gives a fuck. They've kind of shown that they don't really care about this one seed. Yeah. And the Wolves do, even though they're undermanned. I just think Denver is taking in healthy till the playoffs approach.
Yeah. Do we know if Jamal Murray's playing?
He played last night or the night before.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He should be playing.
Probably. Yeah.
And he played pretty fucking well, too, by the way.
Yeah,
so
he looked good.
Jamal Murray is still questionable as of an hour ago. We don't know quite yet, but I would imagine that if they rested him on the second night of a back-to-back, that might be the time to do it. But while we're on the topic of this game, I do want to talk about Underdog Fantasy. UnderdogFantasy.com. Yes. Promo code DING, D-I-N-G, or in the Underdog Fantasy app. Let's start with this game. Zach, you talked to John Krasinski on the Athletic newsletter.
Which John Krasinski? I was about to ask.
Both of them. I talked to both of them, actually. The guy from The Office and the guy from The Athletic.
Did you talk to Jack Ryan?
I did, man. That dude is putting millions on the Nuggets. It's crazy.
Look, man, Quiet Place 2 has a big press tour, okay? You got to hit every outlet. You got to hit the most successful newsletter in the NBA space. That's Zach Harper's newsletter. And John Krasinski from The Office said that the Wolves put Naz Reid on Jokic, and they're having Gobert roaming in help, just like the Rui Hachimura defense.
Where's the coverage, ESPN? Huh?
When are we going to talk about
Where's the secret weapon?
And John Krasinski says they're daring Aaron Gordon to make shots. In his last two games against the Wolves, he has 14 points exactly. So give me Aaron Gordon higher than 13.5 points. Also, the Joker has been averaging 4.2 turnovers in his last 5 games. He's scoring, he's rebounding, he's dishing, but he's also turning it over. So give me Jokic higher than 3.5 turnovers. And then finally, in his last 3 games, do you know what Devin Booker is shooting from 3 was?
45%.
How about 1 for 15 from 3 in his last 3 games for Devin Booker?
He's due.
He's due.
Oh, he's due.
He's due.
I'm going. He's cold. I'm taking Devin Booker lower than 2.0 threes made.
Ooh.
And that is your Underdog Fantasy
combination
for Wednesday.
Hey, speaking of underdogs, the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, we had a very scary injury for Giannis last night, right? Where he's running up the floor, no contact, immediately drops, grabs at his leg. But I'm assuming he didn't tear his Achilles. I feel like we would have found that out by now. It's a soleus muscle sprain. Soleus is a supporting muscle next to the Achilles. It's a similar sprain to what Damian Lillard had last year when he was on the Blazers. He missed 2 weeks with the grade 2 soleus sprain or strain last season. So let's just call it a couple of weeks for Giannis. Although, we thought he blew up his knee a few years ago, right before the finals, and he ended up playing a week later and dominating. And so maybe Giannis is just, snort emoji built different, as they say on the internet. But that's not the story of last night's game. The story of last night's game is Doc Rivers talking about free throws. There were 2 free throws. 2 total free throw attempts in last night's game between the Celtics and the Bucks. There were 12 foul calls total. 8 for the Celtics, 4 for the Bucks, I believe is the number. 12 foul calls, 2 free throw attempts, both from Giannis. He went 1 for 2. And Doc Rivers said this after the game. Man, Adam Silver's the happiest. 157 game time. My goodness, you can go to a game and still have dinner. Unbelievable. Damian Lillard said it was weird.
Unbelievable, man.
Damian Lillard said it was weird, but it seems to be the trend. Fouls are not a part of the game no more. I tell you this, I don't think Adam Silver's happy with this. And I'll tell you why. Mentioned on the broadcast last night, on the TNT broadcast, that because we didn't have free throws, they didn't have time to get to a lot of promos. That the producer in the truck, the director in the truck is like probably freaking out because they're not getting to these promos, which means no ad reads, which means the advertiser's going to be mad, which means the broadcast partners are going to be mad, which means Adam Silver has to be mad. I don't think he's the happiest.
So the NBA has to give that money back, right?
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they're going to cash out it right back.
So
to Burger King. Yeah.
I don't think so. But look, everybody complaining, they can do what they want in terms of like, yo, this sucks or whatever. I think this is a much better outcome than what was happening before. And I don't even think it's close. The ticky-tack nonsense, foul grifting, where like anybody with just any touch you get breathed on was getting called for a foul. I think that's horrible. I think it should take a lot to draw a foul. I think it should feel hard to score baskets. Now, look, I don't want us to go back to what Pat Riley and Derek Harper and Charles Oakley and Charles Smith were doing in 1994. I don't think that's a happy outcome either. But and we definitely don't want, oh my God, the early 2000s shit. We don't.
Remember when the Pistons held teams like under 70 for like 5 straight games? Like we can't have that. Yeah,
we don't want teams scoring 60 points, 68 points total. Yeah. But I think this is I'm perfectly fine with this outcome. If there's some bumps in the road, y'all figure out how to get fouled for real now. Y'all the best athletes in the world. Figure out how to get fouled. Doc Rivers could do all the crying he wants. I'd fine his ass just for being cute.
Wow. No. Wow. Don't find Doc for being cute because we fucking love it. We are living off of his quotes week after week.
You think he's going to stop that? You think he's going to stop being cute? Come on.
True. They did give him $4 million even though they told him not to. So he's got money to burn.
Yeah, I'm with you, Woz. Like, I think players are still complaining because they're still adjusting to it. As long as it remains consistent, it's a better product.
Yeah, facts.
It just is. And I think if it becomes inconsistent with how it's called, then the players have a legitimate gripe of like, look, what do we got to do here to get fouls? Or, oh, now all of a sudden you're calling it. But if it just stays this and it stays this during the postseason, man, I think we're going to have an amazing playoffs. Truly.
Big boy fouls, big boy calls, big boy postseason, man. Like I'm tired. I'm sick of the like, oh man, my little ticky tacks, the grifting that I did no longer works. Like, I'm sorry, talented Mr. Ripley. Like, you ain't gonna get to do this no more. Like, you gotta actually get raked across the freaking arm. Like, oh, yo, anytime LeBron like gets legitimately fouled, he spends an extra 20, 30 seconds on the floor. Like, if it's even kind of legitimate, you know, like the other day he got hit in the head on a layup and he was on the floor like,
Yep. Meanwhile, we've seen him dent his head on a camera and get right back up and keep playing. So, you know.
So, yeah, this is good preparation for the playoffs. I'm happy for it. I'm ready for it, bro.
Yeah, I know one person who's happier than Adam Silver, though. You say, you know, I like that point, Zach. You know, don't mess with the money.
You gotta protect the money.
Gotta protect the money. Gotta protect those commercials. But I'll know one person who's real happy, and that's Tom Haberstroh, who gleefully announced on Monday that his last Blazers game was under 2 hours because Tom's been working that late night West Coast.
Get this Tom Haberstroh out of here. You
only kidding me? Only one more week till the Blazers off season and Tom Haberstroh is free to live a normal life and go to bed at a reasonable time. But he's calling this the NBA pitch clock. Get those games under 2 hours for Tom.
Look, even Tom's included in this. I am not here for East Coast people bitching about times. I'm just not. Okay. You know how many of us have to get off work early just to see a team? I mean, I don't, because I don't live my life, but you know.
Look, man, I'm not. Listen, I work hard. I work so hard. It's hard to be on my couch working from home.
In the words of Wesley Snipes, it's hard, goddamn work.
It's hard going from the bed to the couch at 4 p.m.
Was there are times I'll get into bed at halftime and keep working. You know, like everything's a workspace.
Dude, Zach, sometimes, because I generally have my TV off during the day, but getting up to walk to the other end of my couch to grab that remote. Oh, my goodness.
Come on. And God forbid you forgot your laptop charger.
Oh,
come on, man. Now you got to get up and do that?
I hate that.
Oh, but you got to stay up till 1:30 in the morning just to watch. Do I breathe? Put up 6 threes.
By the time Waz gets up, walks, gets his remote, sits back down, it's the second quarter already. It's crazy.
Second quarter, man. It's a long walk. He's got a big couch,
flying.
man. Yeah,
and then God forbid the freaking DoorDash guy doesn't figure out how to jigger my bell so I can let him in, and then I got to walk all the way upstairs. I'm on the 4th floor, guys. Come on. These are the perils of being at the crib all day.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man.
I'm sorry, Waz. I
was in the throes. I tried to cook early last night. I was in the throes of like 6 games at once as I'm in here making dinner, doing meal prep. Okay?
Wow.
You didn't have to deal with that shit? Come on. It's tough.
Nobody else is dealing with it, Maze.
That's 5 p.m., baby.
It's only a matter of time till Waz gets the Apple Vision Pro and has everything brought to him
my job
on his back.
Can't wait.
Waz just holding out
like, you guys need this to work. You're going to be better at the NBA with this Apple and NBA product. I'm going to be a smarter hoops analyst.
Yeah. No, you'll be locked in. There'll be no stopping Waz at that point.
Locked.
Are you kidding me?
Locked.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about that foul stuff, though, I saw a quote from Draymond Green after last night's game where he was complaining that he gets an unfair whistle in that everything he does is a flagrant foul. And it's unfair. He breathes on someone. They got to review it for a flagrant. It might have something to do with a history of you kicking nuts and choking people and slapping people and hitting people.
What the hell are we talking about?
I don't think you get to play the victim here on this one.
It is the most ridiculous woe is me concept that's ever existed. Like, bruh, what are you talking about?
It's called the track record, Draymond. Look it up.
Nobody's done more flagrant shit on an NBA court in the history of the league. Like, you are literally the most flagrant of all time.
It's like you and Bill Laimbeer. That's it. Like, it's
like literally, bruh. Sicko.
Yeah, Sabonis, watch out for your chest. Play-in tournament.
I even forgot. That's how much stuff he's done. I forgot that he's stomped on.
I don't know. As a Warriors fan, I defended, I think, the Steven Adams dick kicks. I was like, you could see how maybe you could flail and you could kick someone in the dick, and the Sabonis one really tested me. I'm like, well, he's trying to hop out of there, and
he clearly stomps on his chest when he's talking about.
That was tough. That was definitely borderline for me of like, okay, I don't know how many more
Rudy Gobert, you're like, he's protecting his guy. He thought Rudy Gobert, going after
all right, he hates Rudy. Who doesn't? Like, you get the opportunity, it's fine. It was the Nurkic one.
That was the one.
The Nurkic one, you look at that and you say, okay, I give up, man. I'm throwing in the towel on this. There's no defending this anymore.
Also, no one calls referees fucking stupid or fucking wrong as much as you do and gets away with it. So I think there's a little bit of give and take there with the refs. You get away with a lot of verbal stuff, let's say.
You get in the long end of the stick, Draymond. Let's just put it like that.
But let me add this. Please keep doing it because it's great content for us.
Oh, we love it. We love it.
We absolutely love it. We're going to head on over to the Patreon segment, patreon.com/countthedings to subscribe to the Count the Dings Patreon. You get this. You get all kinds of extra segments and extra material, rewatching events, Discord access, all of that. Patreon.com/countthedings. All right, Patreon portion here for Zosny OG Pod edition. And we have two subjects here. One, look, Victor Wembanyama has done some absurd stuff. We've had some incredible dunks all season long. And yet there was a play last night. And no, it's not the Wemby Sham God in traffic against a poor Grizzlies G Leaguer. It wasn't that. It wasn't none of that stuff that caught my eye. It was what I think is maybe the greatest play in NBA history. It happened in the Bulls-Knicks game. Let's watch Tory Craig with a self alley-oop attempt.
Starts the second on the bench. Never stop moving. That's a steal.
Good hands.
That's a 3-on-0 fast break.
No, you gotta be kidding me.
Stacey King. No, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my God. So
hold on.
Let's bring it back. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got this angle.
Oh my goodness.
Tory Craig, if you're just listening, you're not watching this on the Patreon. Tory Craig goes off. It's a 3-on-0 fast break. He goes off the backboard to himself. But Andre Drummond, his teammate, thinks that he's throwing off the backboard to him because he's trailing Tory Craig. We see that kind of play all the time. So they both go up for it. And Andre Drummond ends up with a chase down block on his own teammate on a 3-on-0 fast break that they do not score on.
Andre Drummond being involved in this play, quiet as kept. McGee is affiliated with Shackton, but Andre Drummond is a big Shackton.
He's got some material. Yes.
He's got a lot of Shackton material in his career. So the fact that he was involved in this is wholly unsurprising. And just like, I guess maybe he shouldn't. There's no reason to assume that Tory Craig is going to be the kind of guy who throws a oop to himself, but he's also not the type of guy who throws a oop off the backboard either.
Right.
So
I side with Andre Drummond on this one.
Like Tory Craig.
There is not
Are we in Spin Alley?
There is not a world in which I thought defensive specialist Tory Craig, who probably has a career high of 9 in his whole NBA career.
Wow, disrespectful.
Was going to throw an oop off. He's not like this defensive specialist that is high flying and all of it. Like, he is a strong, quick guy, but he's not a leaper. He's not any of that. The audacity for him to think that he could throw an oop off the backboard to himself and that it would go to him. I'm all team Andre Drummond on this one.
First of all, Zach, Tory Craig, career high 28 points against the Nets in 2021.
So if you don't have a career high above 30, you do not get to throw an oop to yourself off the backboard ever.
But I'm gonna hop on your bandwagon with you, Zach. I'm also pro Andre Drummond. You know why? Because he's the best, self-proclaimed best rebounder of all time. He saw a ball coming off the backboard. He just did his damn job. Go get it. That's what Andre Drummond does.
See ball, get ball. Yeah, that's all it is.
Put him in the Hall of Fame for this fucking block on his alley-oop.
What's funny is either yesterday or this morning, I can't remember what the timeline is, but I saw like the JJ Redick LeBron show. What is it? Mind the Game. I saw LeBron explaining the block, right? Against Andre Iguodala and talking about like, hey, J.R. Smith gets a lot of shit, but I tell my guys all the time, if you see me trailing, I just need you to make them adjust a little bit and I'll go get it. Right. And he's like, JR, yes, he gets a lot of shit for the time clock management a couple years later, but he executed that perfectly. It's why I was able to chase that down. He made him adjust. Right. Mm-hmm. Juxtapose that with Andre Drummond getting a chase down block of his own teammate. And this is the same, a couple weeks ago, James Harden closed out on a teammate in a corner three where he passed him the ball. Like, I'm here for this. The NBA has been so starved for defense and now guys are defending their own teammates. This is basketball. I bet Tom Thibodeau fucking loved it for the wrong reasons. Tom Thibodeau was standing watching that thing. Yep. He wasn't happy that the Knicks benefited. He was like, yes, I love that defensive effort by Andre Drummond.
I do wonder if he threw it too far. Do you think you would have made it if there was no Drummond
there? By
the
way, that Bulls team playing, we're going to get to watch them in the play-in against the Hawks.
We get to watch them against the Hawks.
We get to watch them in the play-in.
I don't even think that should be on NBA TV.
We get to watch them in the play-in against the Hawks.
That should be a VH1 series. That should be on C-SPAN. Like, there's just no way.
Man.
They should put it on Twitch.
I think I actually get better viewership on Twitch. Let's go to something also involving the Knicks. It is the roommate show. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart. Let me say this. I don't like a lot of athletes' podcasts. I think clips are good, but you listen to the whole thing and it's garbage for the most part. Jeff Teague does not qualify for that. I think Jeff Teague's podcast is the best one out there. This roommate show, front to back, fucking good. Okay. Really, really good product there. Like some of the audio.
My guys over there at what's that shit called? My guy does brand partnerships over there. I forget the name.
Okay. Playmaker HQ.
Yes, yeah. Playmaker. They doing their thing.
They had Isaiah Hartenstein on. So let's roll the clip of Hartenstein talking to his Knicks teammates, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson. And it's really the best way to get into a segment is how Jalen Brunson does.
Let's just jump right into it. Are you black?
Explain your blackness.
You know, it's like light skin. I'm bright skin.
Ooh. So like okay, above, bright skin. I like that.
I'm above.
My child's bright skin.
I'm above light skin. Yeah, my dad's black. Anytime people find out, y'all know Kim Peel? You know, like when Barack Obama going in, white man handshake different. Black, when they find out I'm black,
you got the good handshake.
It changes. Like, it's the whole vibe. The whole vibe changes. It goes from, hey, Zay, how you doing? Hey, yo, Zay, what up, man? You good? I think Hart did the same thing. He's like, oh,
it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you.
You know I'm black. It changes. Like,
oh, yeah, I heard you was black, bro. I found out he was black. I was like, yo, that was crazy.
Well, all right. Look, I don't know. I understand he's black. It's tough wording to say bright skin is above, right? Like there's he's like,
the scale of non-darkness.
Yes, if that's how you want to take it. If you want to take it that way, sure.
Yeah.
But also just saying bright skin's better. Bright skin's above it.
I don't know if he's saying that it's better. It's just more.
I don't think he is, but the wording makes it tough. It makes it a tough swallow there.
Well, we all know white is right, so I don't know what you're fighting.
We got to be careful who we salute around here, all right? We've gone through
listen. I'm on a lot of salutes because the next level of that is, no thank you. I'm on a lot of salutes. Xi Jinping, he's the dog, though.
Jesus, he's a dog?
That's the dog. Shouts to TikTok, man.
Well,
Don't ban him. Let him rock.
Don't ban it. Let it rock. That's how I kill time at night. Has bright skin been a thing before? Or is that a term that you were aware of?
No, it's not something I'm aware of. But like, there have been black people who were white passing in the past.
Sure.
You know, J. Edgar Hoover famously. No, I'm just kidding. But that's a thing, though. Like that's a rumor out there that J. Edgar Hoover is like a white passing black. But like, there's been a bunch of people. Babe Ruth, right? Shouts to the Lebertard show. But that's been a thing historically. It's just for
Mike McDaniel is black, right?
Mike McDaniel. I mean. Good Lord, have mercy. If you look at some of the original NAACP presidents, man, you would be shocked that some of those cats were actually black. I just, like for Hartenstein, because it's just so, it might be the worst one I've ever seen, like as far as, or the best one, depending on how you look at it.
It's above it.
Right.
You got to do the motion.
As far as passing is concerned, man, do we know where's Hartenstein? Where did he grow up at?
Germany.
That's a good question.
Because I would have loved for him to grow up in New York and be around some of the ethnic whites of New York, like be around a bunch of Italian cats or Irish cats in New York City, so and he's not knowing that he's actually white and the things that man would have heard. Oh my goodness! I'm talking about just as bad as Mississippi, y'all.
He's born in Eugene, Oregon.
Mm-hmm. But his family moved to Germany in 2008. His dad is German-American basketball coach.
Yeah. And his dad was playing at the time in Germany.
So the part that I guess doesn't factor into this at all is the red hair. I thought maybe that had something to do with what he's talking about here with the Blake Griffin situation.
No, I think he's just saying like I'm beyond light. Like, cause light skin is like like J. Cole. He's a light skinned black homie. He's biracial, but like he looks like a black dude. He's just light skinned, but he looks black. Hartenstein does not look black. So it's like beyond just, being a light skinned brother. Like he's something beyond light skin. He's completely right about that. Cause I'd say, man, 99 out of 100 people would run into him and be like, yeah, it's a white dude. Clearly.
I just dropped a picture of young Isaiah and his dad in the chat.
Still, even young Isaiah. Come on now.
His dad's name is Florian.
Yep. Sure is. I'm trying to... I ended up on a German Wikipedia page here, untranslated, so I can't figure out where he is from, but he is German, so I'm assuming born and raised in Germany.
Yeah.
Germany.
So watch out, Woz.
No,
take it easy.
Let's also be careful how we salute Germany.
His wife is,
in your voice there was
he died.
Chaos. There was chaos in that tone right there.
Yeah, Florian Hartenstein, born to a German mother and an American father in Germany.
Okay.
And then
there's some good people out in Germany.
Don't Marge shot
I'm not doing the Trump Charlottesville thing.
No one's disagreeing with you.
I'm being genuine. I'm not being.
You know what?
I'm not.
Thank you for listening. We're just gonna. I feel like I know where this is headed in a couple of minutes. And we had a good episode. Check out the main show on your feeds. Thank you for being a Patreon subscriber.